My wife has amnesia, completely forgetting me. The husband who has been with her for many years and reunites with her childhood sweetheart, who also comes from a wealthy family. The two are openly affectionate, even wanting to divorce me. Friends and family all advise me to wait until she recovers her memory, and then she will regret it. But I signed the divorce agreement without hesitation because I knew that my wife had never lost her memory. 01. My wife, Chi Yun-shan, had a car accident. Her body was fine, but there was some congestion in her brain. Before meeting her, the doctor reminded me that brain congestion could cause dizziness, amnesia, and other symptoms, and that I should be prepared. So when she woke up and asked me who I was with an indifferent look, I smiled brightly. Yun-shan, I am your husband, Shinichi. Don't you remember it all? I gently stroked my wife. My smile even more gentle. We were in love for 6 years, married for 2, and you were pregnant with our baby. Luckily, she is still very healthy. As a mother, you must be looking forward to it. Touching her bulging belly, a flash of guilt passed through Chi Yun-shan's eyes, but she still firmly shook her head. Impossible. Zhozha and I are childhood sweethearts. We established a romantic relationship in high school. How could there be room for you, an outsider, to interfere? This child has nothing to do with you. She turned to look at Zhozha, extending her hands to him. Zhozha, we have always been the most in love, haven't we? Even during this car accident, we were together in the car, enduring the impact together. We truly share happiness and hardship. Zhozha smiled awkwardly, but he still tightly held Chi Yun-shan's hands. The midday sun shone through the thin saw windows. The fine dust dancing in the sunlight enveloped the two people leaning together, hazy and beautiful like a mural. Just like in high school, when they kissed deeply under the setting sun. At that time, they were playing around while I was quietly reading and studying aside. If a teacher appeared, I would become their little tutor, helping them cover up for 3 years. I knew I was just a follower, but I was happy to do so. Because I was poor, because my parents didn't like me. Even though I got the highest score in the city's junior high school entrance exam, I was deprived of the right to go to high school. Fortunately, private noble school specially recruited 10 outstanding poor students to improve their reputation, providing generous scholarships and promising rewards of tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands after the college entrance examination. Only then was I able to continue my studies. Good grades were originally a student's asset, but it didn't work in the private Jew school because it was a gathering place for money and connections. No matter how well a poor person studied, they would only be their worker in the future. My situation can be imagined. Looking at everyone's mocking and discriminatory gazes, I even regretted going to high school at the time. For a moment, I wanted to run home and be sold by my parents at a high price to a foolish woman to be a live-in son-in-law. But I was lucky. Zhozha finally accepted me. He allowed me to become his and Chi Yun-shan's follower. He said that the other boys in the school were too excellent. If I kept following him and Chi Yun-shan, what if I hooked up with Chi Yun-shan? And someone as humble and poor as me, no matter how handsome, was at most a useless person in the eyes of women. No rich heiress would truly like me. I don't quite remember what I thought at the time. I only remember that he gave me 10,000 yuan, which was the money for being his follower for 3 years. In the eyes of many people, 10,000 yuan is insignificant. No one would bend over for this little money. But I would. 02. Why are you still here? Chi Yun-shan frowned, very displeased. Her voice pulled me back to reality from my memories. I smiled good-naturedly. Then I'll go home first. Take care of yourself. Then I nodded and smiled at Zhozha. Zhozha, then I'll trouble you to work hard these few days. Zhozha had a hint of pity in his eyes. Shinja, I'm sorry. Yun-shan and I are sorry to you, but I really love Yun-shan too much. I can't live without her. Please leave her, okay? I silently looked at Chi Yun-shan. Chi Yun-shan was staring at her stomach, a look of hesitation in her eyes. Zhozha buried her head in his shoulder, pleading, Yun-shan, without you, I wouldn't be able to live. When the car accident happened, you promised me you would get divorced and marry me. If you want to keep the child, we'll raise it well. If you don't want to, I'll arrange the best doctors. Hearing this, the hesitation in Chi Yun-shan's eyes faded, and she coldly said to me, Shinichi, I don't know what happened between us, but I really can't love you. Let's get divorced. I felt like laughing. Zhozha, do you really love Chi Yun-shan? Chi and Sean, do you really not remember what happened between us? The fork in our three fates was after the college entrance exam. At that time, I was admitted to Peking University as I wished, and I also received the 500,000 yuan reward that the school had promised. Even though most of it was taken by my parents and younger brother, I finally had a little savings of my own, and I could finally breathe freely in university. Chi Yunshan's academic performance was only so-so, but because she took the path of international returnees to save the country, she also got into a prestigious university, as she wished. Only Zhou Zhe, even with multiple paths, unfortunately scored a shocking 200 points on the college entrance exam, and could only study in the UK in the end. At first, Chi and Sean and Zhou Zhe could barely maintain their relationship, video chatting and expressing their love every day. Every vacation, Chi and Sean would go straight to the UK. But as time went by, the young and energetic hormones were restricted by being in different places, and the pride of the young master and princess made them unwilling to compromise with each other, ending in a tragic breakup. At that time, Zhou Zhe, in order to provoke Chi and Sean, even sent her bed photos of him and several foreign women. He said harshly at the time, "Chi and Sean, stop clinging. Your flat figure can't satisfy me at all. I will never love you again." Chi and Sean was so angry that she wanted to go to the UK and kill Zhou Zhe. Proud as she was, she couldn't stand being green-hatted so many times. Her parents couldn't stop her, but I held her back. She and Zhou Zhe treated me like a follower, but I treated them as friends. Because no matter what the original intention was, they ultimately saved me when I was most poor and helpless. I just didn't expect that after all their now ing, Chi and Sean would choose me to be her boyfriend. I asked her why. I deeply remembered the disdainful tone in her reply. "Shinja, Zhou Zhe despises you the most. In his eyes, you are always the lowest dog. But I just want to love you, to hold you up. I want him to know that in my heart he is not even as good as you, a dog. I want him to regret it for the rest of his life. Am I sad? I should be sad." But I nodded in agreement. Because the more I see, the more I realize that poverty is the most difficult gap to overcome, and I need a springboard with a high starting point. And Chi and Sean is the closest springboard. Now that Chi and Zhou Zhe are back together, I have once again become a discarded dog. It doesn't matter. I have already obtained the money and wealth I desire most in my heart. And as for love, I never asked for it. 03. In college, my condition for agreeing to be Chi Yunshan's boyfriend was 200,000 yuan in pocket money per month. Some people call it selling my body, but I don't think so, because we are a normal boyfriend and girlfriend. I am not a sugar daddy, and she is not a mistress. Pocket money is just an additional product of love. The reason for asking for money is my way out. My intuition tells me that once Zhou Zhe comes back, what awaits me is being kicked out. I'm very lucky. Zhou Zhe has been indulging in the pursuit of various beauties across the ocean, and I have been making money through love and using money to support myself and constantly learning and improving. With money, I hired a one-on-one foreign tutor to improve my clumsy spoken English, achieving a standard London accent favored by high society without having to study abroad. With money, I hired one-on-one teachers to teach me Spanish and French, persuading Chi Yunshan to travel in Europe during the summer vacation. The former country bumpkin can now switch between 3 languages fluently. With money, I took etiquette classes from famous teachers to improve my taste in clothing and social etiquette. With money, I could make friends and socialize as I pleased, no longer feeling inferior for not being able to afford my share of the bill. Most reassuringly, with money, I bought my own large apartment in the first year of obtaining a Jing City hukou. As for the Jing City hukou, it was also within my plan. My safest route was originally to take the postgraduate entrance exam and the civil service exam, but thinking of the family members who were draining me, I gave up on the path of being in the system. Because once I took that path, I would be restricted by too many rules, regulations, and moral constraints and bound by my original family forever. But I needed a hukou, so I used my Peking University degree and Chi Yunshan's connections to get into a public institution, quickly obtained a Jing City hukou, and then resigned with compensation. It was shameless, but I had no other way. I wanted to become rich quickly and not fear family harassment, so the only way was to start my own business. When I was busy with my business and had achieved some success, almost forgetting about my girlfriend Chi Yunshan, she suddenly proposed to me. Graduation season is breakup season. Although she didn't explicitly say goodbye at the time, she left for England without saying a word. I don't care about her love-hate entanglement with Zhou Zhe, and I don't know what they went through later. I only know that she returned home with a trace of sadness. I assumed that Qi Yunshan and I were completely over, but she launched a surprise attack. Shinichen, although I still love and hate Zhou Zhe in my heart, although I don't love you, let's get married. I want to make Zhou Zhe understand that as long as I want, a dog he used to bully can become a high-ranking gentleman. Do you ask me if I'm willing to be a substitute? I don't know. It's an indescribable feeling, but it's not that I'm unwilling. Even though I was good enough at the time, and many girls favored me, I knew my own weight. Compared with the Qi family, I was still like an ant compared to a big tree. I needed the shade under a big tree. We got married, and Qi Yunshan married me in a grand style. Everyone said that I was marrying above myself, envying me for climbing onto the Qinjin Miss. Only I knew that she was always just my boss. And my father-in-law and mother-in-law, they're also my bosses. Facing the boss is hidden under the face of marriage. I will, of course, do everything I can to be a good husband. Only in this way can I obtain more resources and develop my own industry. Underneath the veneer of happiness, I have always waited for the moment of divorce. Especially after Zhou Zhe returned to China, I immediately noticed their entanglement. At first, she didn't come home at night, and then there were quarrels between Qi Yunshan and her family. She wanted a divorce, but the first thing she did was not to tell me, but to discuss it with her parents first. Isn't that ridiculous? In her eyes, I have always been insignificant, not worth her thinking about at all. However, my willingness to divorce does not mean that I will obediently give up my benefits. I am not a rag for Qi Yunshan and Zhou Zhe to be thrown away after use. 04. The only thing that made Qi Yunshan feel a little guilty was that she already had a child that the Qi family was looking forward to very much. But she had a car accident, so she used amnesia to propose a divorce. She felt at ease, as if she didn't have to bear the moral guilt. Now that the last shoe is finally dropped, I can finally sleep soundly. Qi Yunshan kept her word and handed the divorce agreement to me in just 3 days. I took the agreement with trembling hands, my eyes staring at her pitifully. Qi Yunshan, even the coldest stone would be warmed up after 6 years. Did you truly never love me? In your eyes, was my 6 years of devotion just a joke? Have you thought about our child? A grown man like me, from trying to suppress my emotions to squatting on the ground and sobbing uncontrollably, like the most pitiful man trampled upon in the world. The sadness was fake, but the crying was real. Even if I married her for power and money, even if every night of intimacy was just acting, it was still 6 years of entanglement after all. Qi Yunshan reached out a hand, wanting to stroke my short hair, but stopping in midair. Shinichen, you've always been the strongest man. Please don't cry like this. I'm sorry. You're truly wonderful, the most qualified wife and daughter-in-law in the world, but I still love Zhou Zhe more. You know, you accompanied me for 6 years, but I also waited for him for 6 years. You can't bear to see me continue to endure this torment, can you? I cursed inwardly, but still cried helplessly on the surface. With a sigh, she took the divorce agreement, and after a while, had a lawyer send me a revised copy. The lawyer looked at me with a knowing smile. Mr. Shin is truly impressive. Leveraging the Qi family's connections to pave the way, your fitness clubs under your name are making a fortune. Yet you can still get so much real estate and hundreds of millions in liquid assets from Miss Qi. I admire you. I forced a bitter smile and sighed. If I could choose, I would rather grow old with her. The lawyer shook his head and smiled. No matter how smart a woman is, she can't escape the tears of a big man. Of course, it shows Miss Qi has you in her heart. Otherwise, no matter how much you cry, she wouldn't soften and wouldn't have doubled your compensation in half a day. I remained non-committal, only shaking my head with a bitter smile as I signed my name. Eyes are so precious. If not for profit, why would I use tears to harm my profound eyes? From beginning to end, I had no complaints about the Qi family or Qi Yunshan. Even Zhou Zhe, who snatched my marriage and woman, I always remained silent. A decent breakup, a peaceful departure. From now on, I will only love myself and the child to come. Even though she was about to give birth, I was still busy with my career every day. Only my career can give me the greatest sense of security. In the past 2 years, my fitness clubs have opened 3 branches nationwide. Although the number is small, they follow a high-end route, serving only the wealthy and third-tier celebrities and above with substantial income. Because I came from a poor background, I am more afraid of poverty than anyone else. I want to create the best material conditions for myself and my child. Although Chi Yunshan was hesitant, I hoped she could give birth to the child for me. Under my persistent pleas, under the persuasion of Chi's parents, and because Chi Yunshan's body was not suitable for abortion, she finally agreed to give birth to the child. The condition was that the child would be surnamed Chi and would be listed in the Chi family genealogy, but I would raise the child. I have no attachment to my original family, and I don't care if someone inherits my surname, so I readily agreed. I'm looking forward to the arrival of the child. Finally, on a Saturday morning in autumn, my daughter Man announced her arrival into the world with the loudest cry. My daughter's formal name was given by the Chi family. I gave her the nickname Man because I had to grow up wildly due to poverty, and I hope she can grow up wildly and freely because of wealth. I don't seek love. I don't seek affection from parents and siblings, but what I crave most in my heart is sincerity. From then on, there was finally someone in this world whom I truly treated with sincerity. I held Man in my arms, and my former mother-in-law smiled as she stood by my side. My former mother-in-law smiled, held Man's small hand, and whispered, "Ichin, even if Yunshan and Zhou have children in the future, the Zhou family will not agree to the child being surnamed Chi. So you are considered a great contributor to our Chi family." I said with a smile, "I wouldn't dare say that." My former mother-in-law sighed, a look of worry appearing on her face. Back then, Yunshan was fooled by Zhou. She was making such a fuss and was so upset. You were the one who stayed by her side and slowly influenced her with your gentleness, putting her back on the right track. We finally hoped that Yunshan could take over some of the company's affairs. But as soon as that man Zhou came back, she immediately turned into a damned love-struck fool, spending her days with him indulging in extravagant pleasures. Even staying in the country for a few days became a luxury. A few days ago, your father fell ill, and I told them to return to the country immediately, but Yunshan would rather celebrate Zhou's birthday in France than return to serve her own father. What do you call that? I advised you to endure it before, to keep dragging her along and not get divorced, but you were ultimately too young and couldn't bear it. Mom feels sorry for you, not wanting you to suffer alone out there. But Ichin, don't worry, your father and I will absolutely not allow that man Zhou to marry into our family. Even if the two families are well matched, his reputation is too bad. We can't afford to lose face like that. Listening to my former mother-in-law's endless complaints, I remained silent. This is the Chi family's business, not something I, an outsider, can comment on. My former mother-in-law suddenly grasped my hand. Ichin, come home and live here. This family needs you. It needs Man. Home? The Chi family is not my home, and they have never truly liked me. I remember when I first started dating Chi Yunshan, her parents were very opposed to me. I can understand. After all, no wealthy family parents want their daughter to fall in love with a poor Phoenix man. I didn't expect to gain their approval. Later, because Chi Yunshan was head over heels for Zhou, her parents reluctantly accepted me, but the disdain in their eyes and the sarcasm in their tone are still vivid in my memory. Especially the first time I spent the new year at their house. The entire Chi family gathered together, talking and laughing, but completely ignoring me. Some even went so far as to treat me like a servant, deliberately trying to humiliate me. Chi Yunshan didn't see me. My former father-in-law and mother-in-law deliberately snubbed me. Who could I rely on? Fortunately, I had already prepared myself mentally, holding my breath and facing them with a calm smile, preventing them from becoming too aggressive. After being rejected time and time again, and cleaning up Chi Yunshan's messes over and over, they finally got used to my existence and accepted my identity as the future successor of the Chi family. I can always smile through all kinds of difficulties, but I won't deliberately humiliate myself. I am no longer the fool I once was. Why should I return to the Chi family to disgrace myself again? Man's arrival slowed down my pace of life considerably. Money is important, but spending time with my child is equally important, so I spend more time with Man as she grows up. I love my daughter, and my former in-laws also dote on her. Originally, my former mother-in-law wanted to hold a grand 1-month celebration for Man, But I refused, saying that the child was too young and not suitable for seeing too many strangers. Finally, on her 100th day, we held a 100-day banquet for Man. I didn't invite my biological parents and younger brother. After all, we were almost estranged, only close friends and business partners. The Chi family was very grand, with all the relatives and friends of the entire family present. My former in-laws were all smiles, and gave Man a building and a yacht named after her on the spot. Their generosity was remarkable. I didn't refuse because although Man is my child, she is also the Chi family's first grandchild, and she deserves these things. Everyone changed their tune and showered all sorts of praise and flattery on Man, a little child who didn't understand anything. Chi Yunshan and Zhou were not invited to the 100-day banquet, but they still arrived late together. Zhou wore a well-fitting black suit, smiling as he took out a set of silver jewelry. The child is still young and can't handle real gold and jade. This is the most suitable for her. My former mother-in-law didn't even look at him, ordering someone to take the silver jewelry and throw it into the trash can. My former mother-in-law smiled kindly at Man. Our Man is the Chi family's only child. Those cheap things can't be touched. Her words pointed directly at Zhou. Zhou's face was livid, but he didn't dare to erupt on the spot, only secretly pinching Chi Yunshan's waist hard. My former mother-in-law smiled and called out to her daughter. Yunshan, are you too happy to be silly? What are you standing there for? Hurry up and hug your daughter. Chi Yunshan looked at the pink and tender little child, a little at a loss, but the expression on her face softened a lot, even with a hint of maternal tenderness, which was rare. She held up her hands and asked me with a smile, "She's so small. Can I hold her? Will it hurt her?" When she was born, she only glanced at her and had her taken away. This was the first time she had held her child. I smiled. 3 months is good to hold. Don't hold her upright for too long. Try to hold her horizontally. It's good for the child's spine. Oh, look. Man is smiling at you. She likes her mother very much. Chi Yunshan was also full of surprise. Man's smile is so beautiful. It looks a lot like me when I was little. The way she's blowing bubbles is also very cute. My former mother-in-law chimed in. But Man is much better behaved than you were when you were little. You used to cry so loudly every day that several nannies were exhausted and became neurotic. But little Man is so quiet. Her big, bright eyes are smiling and smiling. She looks more blessed than you. We talked and laughed. If people who didn't know the situation saw it, they would definitely think we were a happy and joyful family. But this scene, in Zhou's eyes, became a piercing thorn. Ignoring the etiquette of a high-class family, he rushed to us, grabbed Chi Yunshan behind him, in a gesture that the woman was his property. I immediately took the child away when he rushed over. I would never risk the child's personal safety. My former mother-in-law glared at Zhou. Our Chi family granddaughter's 100-day banquet only invited family members. What are you doing here? Zhou, accustomed to his willfulness, pointed his finger at his former mother-in-law's nose and cursed. I am your daughter's childhood sweetheart. We have been together for more than 10 years. Why can't I come? Back then, you clearly liked me so much, saying that only I was worthy of being the Chi family's son-in-law, saying that after Yunshan and I got married, I would be your own son. But it's only been a few years, and you've become like this. Yunshan and I love each other so much, yet you're trying to tear us apart. Do you think we're still in the Qing dynasty? The former mother-in-law trembled with anger. She didn't expect Zhou to be so shameless as to shout so loudly. She angrily slapped Chi Yunshan across the face. Look at what kind of man you've attracted. You're yelling at me even before you're married. If you get married, will you force us to our deaths? She then pressed Zhou. I did say those things back then, but haven't you reflected on what you did yourself afterwards? You were already shameful enough for being promiscuous overseas, and you even caught a dirty disease. Is this how your Zhou family raises its sons? Zhou didn't budge an inch, smiling triumphantly. I am unclean and infertile, but your daughter had her tubes tied for me. We are a match made in heaven. Before his voice faded, dozens of people were silent. The former father-in-law's old illness relapsed, and he collapsed. The former mother-in-law also clutched her chest, nearly fainting. My heart felt like it was experiencing an earthquake. Zhou and Chi Yunshan were unable to have children. Heaven is helping me and my daughter. 06. The upper class emphasizes subtlety and restraint in their actions. Even if things turn sour, they rarely argue publicly. But the Chi and Zhou families made countless jokes this time, the shouting more lively than a fight between slum thugs and shrewish women. There's no helping it. The fact that Zhou caused Qi Yunshan to be unable to have children is just too big of a deal. It's understandable that the Qi family can't accept it, but I find it really funny. Zhou has a responsibility, but Qi Yunshan is not a child, much less an idiot. Her having her tubes tied for love was purely voluntary. This is a royal flush in the entire dating world. Thinking from Zhou's perspective, he definitely met a crazily love-struck perfect match. Although men ridicule Zhou, they are somewhat envious in their hearts. After all, who wouldn't want to meet a woman who would die for them? But I am not envious at all, because my daughter and I are already the biggest winners. Ever since they found out that Qi Yunshan couldn't have children, my former in-laws have been incredibly warm to me and my child. When Qi Yunshan wanted a divorce, my former in-laws had tried to stop her and also advised me to be patient, but that was just lip service. After all, no matter how much I improved over the years, in their eyes I was still a scheming nouveau riche from a poor background, not worth them falling out with their biological daughter for. Especially when my family even came to their door once shortly after we got married, acting shamelessly to get money. The scene was very embarrassing. But I was tough enough. Afterwards, I secretly crippled my younger brother and threatened him that if he dared to come again, he wouldn't see the light of the next day. If they were well-behaved, I could give them 100,000 yuan a year, so they had no choice but to behave themselves. So compared to poor relatives like us, my former in-laws certainly preferred the Zhou family, who were also from a wealthy family. But now, with Zhou's arrogance and excess as a comparison, I have become the best son-in-law in the world. It's one thing for him to come and try to persuade me. After all, every time he comes, he can spend time with Man, and nurturing the relationship between grandparents and grandchildren is not a bad thing. But I didn't expect that after only half a year, Qi Yunshan would actually come to my door. She's thinner now, and more composed, her eyes confused and gloomy, a far cry from her love-crazed self back then. I politely invited her in, the gentle smile on my face unchanged. If you want to see Man, I can take her back to the old house so you don't have to bother coming. Qi Yunshan stared at me blankly for a long time before finally speaking. I-Chin, let's get back together. Yes, let's get back together. Man needs a complete family, and we'll love her together in the future. Her tone was hesitant at first, but the second sentence was a bit firmer, as if she really had the intention of getting back together. I lowered my head and smiled. We initially married because of Zhou and later divorced because of him. Now you want to get back together. Did he do something again? Qi Yunshan, we've known each other since the first year of high school. Even if you never considered me a friend, I'm still grateful to you. So, for these 6 years, I willingly gave to you and your family. Please, for the sake of my feelings, just let me go. I won't pester you relentlessly, nor will I be hysterical, but I have a heart, and I have love, hate, and grudges. Please don't treat me like I'm just a disposable object. And please don't bring up Man. Ask yourself, are you a good mother? You clearly said you wanted a child because the Qi family needed one, but since Zhou came back to the country, have you thought about your daughter even once? She wronged me, and it's my own fault because I had my own motives when I followed her back then. But Man was the daughter she once longed for, yet she abandoned her for the sake of Zhou. She doesn't deserve to be a mother. I continued to smile, but my stomach churned. She disgusted me. 07. Qi Yunshan fled in disarray. I looked out the window at her retreating figure, a mocking smile on my lips. In my eyes, her value is now negligible. She's not worth me sharing a bed with again. She came this time only because Zhou had a falling out with her parents, and in a fit of anger, Zhou went abroad again. So, she needs me to help her heal again. Thinking about it, regardless of his character, Zhou is still the only young master of the Zhou family. He has the confidence to not serve his in-laws or please women. He came back because he was tired of the various women across the ocean, because they couldn't give him the warm, delicate love that only Qi Yunshan could give. But he won't compromise and become a reformed, loyal man for Qi Yunshan's sake. He also doesn't have the patience to help the Qi family manage their tedious and uninteresting family business. Proud as he is, He would never compromise himself for anyone. The previous big fight he had with the Chi family wasn't because he loved Chi Yunshan so much, but because he felt it was a disgrace to his pride that a woman he thought he could easily obtain didn't fall into his hands. Now that he knows that going against the Chi family won't benefit him, leaving is the normal thing to do. It can only be said that they may be in love, but they're not suitable for each other. Although Chi Yunshan is a scumbag, she's ultimately thin-skinned. After being rejected by me, she didn't bother me again. But my former in-laws weren't so easily fooled. They finally got rid of Zhou, so of course they want to get back custody of their granddaughter. Letting me come home is just a bonus. My former mother-in-law invited me to seriously discuss this matter, laying out the pros and cons, and letting me make my own choice. I no longer need to rely on the Chi family's power, so I smiled and politely refused. Mom, if you want custody of Man, I have no objections at all. After all, she's a Chi. She's originally your and Dad's granddaughter. But think about it, Yunshan can be obsessed with Zhou, and she might become obsessed with other men in the future. If there's another big scene then, what do you think Man will think of her mother? Besides, you know my family's situation very well. If we remarry, they'll inevitably become arrogant and complacent. Are you willing to see their smug faces? I advise her to think about the benefits of maintaining the status quo and think about the many shortcomings of a forced reconciliation. My former mother-in-law also wavered. People always think of the good more than the bad after a separation. In fact, when we were together every day, there were quite a few squabbles. It's better to be relatives at a distance like this. The Chi family finally didn't mention remarrying or changing custody. It's not that they haven't considered throwing me aside and forcefully taking custody of Man, but I'm no longer someone they can bully as they please. Not to mention that Chi Yunshan and Zhou's affair has been widely publicized, giving me a huge advantage in public opinion. Just the fact that I have so many university alumni and celebrities under my management is enough. If we really tear our faces, even ants can shake a big tree. Now, I have long escaped the lowly fate of being bullied by others, and I have finally grown into the person I hope to be. I saw Zhou again at Paris Fashion Week, 2 years later. He was still impeccably dressed, with 2 fair-skinned beauties on his arm. But even across the runway and the indistinct crowd, I could see the fine lines around his eyes and the weariness in his gaze. His eyes stared directly at me, with a hint of hatred. I smiled at him slightly, just as I had done in the past. After the fashion show, I left the venue, chatting and laughing with several fashion editors, followed by several celebrities who chimed in with smiles and agreeable words. Zhou stopped me. Shini-chan, let's talk. I nodded to my friends with a smile and followed Zhou into a coffee shop by the street. Seeing that I remained silent, he finally became impatient and spoke first. Shini-chan, you're so proud of yourself now. Back then, you were just a dog I bought for 10,000 yuan. Now, you've transformed yourself, joined the upper class, and pretend to be a gentleman. My smile remained unchanged. Zhou, thank you for the 10,000 yuan you gave me back then. As for my current status, I deserve it. No one has the right to be jealous. Zhou's eyes were filled with venom. You deserve it? You only got it by stealing your friend's girlfriend and sleeping with women. You shameless bastard. I folded my hands on the table and sneered. I don't understand why you hate me so much. You pushed Chi Yunshan on me back then, and you were the one who stole my wife during our marriage, completely disregarding worldly shame and living with my wife day and night. Of all things, only you two have wronged me, but I have never said a bad word about you. Zhou, are you tired of playing with women, or have women tired of playing with you? Why have you become so incapable of taking it? Whether I was a person or a dog back then, I am now high above thanks to my own efforts, while you have long been on the decline. Your selfishness has made your parents a laughingstock in the circle, and even led to a loss of direction in your business. You don't reflect on yourself, but instead blame me. Does that make any sense? Thinking back to high school, why did I choose to be a dog? Because I needed money, and more importantly, I needed safety. Back then, those privileged and wealthy classmates not only mocked and gave me the cold shoulder, but also took pleasure in playing cruel tricks on me. They thought it was a joke, but for me, the one enduring it, it was blatant bullying. And the ringleader at the time was Zhou. He liked to see me in a state of disarray and then groveling before him, and I dutifully obliged. I was too honest, so honest that he had no desire to challenge me. That was how I was lucky enough to become his lackey. How laughable that becoming a lackey was my good fortune. Otherwise, I wouldn't have survived those 3 years of high school. I never thought about revenge because I knew that the rules of society were not set by me. I could only struggle upstream and desperately become stronger. Having given up so much dignity, time, and freedom, I finally got it. Zhozha couldn't even manage to stay in place. What this circle needs most is stability. Even if the next generation is incompetent, it is better than reckless actions. Zhozha should be grateful that the foundation laid by his parents is strong enough. Otherwise, he would have long lost the right to sit and drink coffee with me. However, I think the day he is abandoned by the circle is not far off. After returning to China, Qi Yunshan was waiting at the airport. The first thing she said to me was, Zhozha made things difficult for you again? He is always so arrogant. You don't have to indulge him anymore. How ridiculous. Back then, she was Zhozha's most steadfast believer. Even if Zhozha wanted to kill someone, she would hand him the knife and take the blame for him. Just like in high school, when Zhozha was unhappy, he would use me as a dog until I was exhausted, and she would only smile and rest her head on his lap, praising him for doing well, praising him as a warm little son. Bypassing unpleasant memories, I smiled in relief. No, we're all friends. We were just catching up, but it seems he's not doing well, and he still loves you. Yunshan, go to Paris to find him. I hope you two will be together smoothly. Forever locked, torturing each other. Qi Yunshan stared at me blankly for a moment and muttered to herself, I-Chin, you're completely different from how timid you used to be. When you smile, it's like you're surrounded by a dazzling light, so handsome and charming. It's the first time she's praised me, and it's after the divorce, truly ridiculous. I lowered my eyes without saying anything, tired and too lazy to pay attention to her. Seeing that I didn't speak, Qi Yunshan also drove in silence. Halfway there, she suddenly spoke again. I-Chin, actually, I've let go of Zhozha a long time ago. His love is like poison. I'm scared. I dare not get close. Can we live a good life together from now on? I know that Zhozha has called her countless times during this period, but she hasn't answered any of them, as if she really wants to cut ties completely. This is also one of the reasons why Zhozha hates me. He thinks I stole his Qi Yunshan. I smiled calmly. Qi Yunshan, when you had that car accident, you and Zhozha weren't arguing in the car, were you? You say his love is like poison, but what you loved back then was his intense passion that could drive people to death, wasn't it? I know that they were talking about how to force me to divorce while driving. They got carried away and Zhozha leaned his head on her. They loved each other recklessly, passionately, and even when they almost died, they didn't have a shred of guilt. What Zhozha does is none of my business. But what about Qi Yunshan? She used to be my wife, the mother of my daughter. She's truly disgusting. And I thank her for this disgust, which allows me to step on her to climb upwards without any guilt. Touching her bulging belly, a hint of guilt flashed in Qi Yunshan's eyes. But she still shook her head firmly. Impossible. Zhozha and I are childhood sweethearts. We established a romantic relationship in high school. How could we allow an outsider like you to interfere? This child has nothing to do with you. My daughter. I have my own career. I manage her share of the Qi family's assets for her, and I'm incredibly happy every day. Looking at my little baby, who is cute and a little bit mischievous, I often recall my childhood experiences. I always remember the casual expressions on my parents' faces when they discussed at the dinner table how much money they could get by marrying me off to that fool as an adopted son-in-law, as if the son sitting beside them was just an emotionless object. I try my best to get rid of them, but I could never get rid of the anxiety and fear deep inside. So I crave money, crave power, crave everything that can make me stronger. Now that I have a daughter, I realize that the only thing that can heal a broken heart is emotion itself. Every sweet smile my daughter gives me is the best cure for me. I have walked through countless thorns to wear this heavy and beautiful crown. I hope my daughter and every child can proudly wear their own crowns. Don't be like me, who once lowered my head to the dust for the sake of a crown.